Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Adam Nicholas from WhatCulture.
And coming up today, we've got news of a huge title change at last night's NXT Great American Bash. Matt Riddle has responded to the speaking out allegations and who is behind Otis's push in WWE.
Also, Taz brought a classic title to AEW last night, and we have an update on all of the matches to come for Fight for the Fallen and NXT next week.
This is the news, and we start, as I mentioned, with that huge title change on last night's NXT. Spoiler alert, although you should have probably seen this one coming, considering it was a title versus title winner takes all match, and the best news of all, Adam Cleary now owes me a pasty as a result of this, but disregarding all that, we have a new NXT World Champion. His name is Keith Lee. He defeated Adam Cole in the main event of Night 2 of the Great American Bash for NXT last night in a sensational match, finishing it off with a Spirit Bomb followed by a Big Bang Catastrophe for the 1, 2, 3. Really enjoyed this match, Adam Nicholas, and that shot immediately afterwards with all the confetti and Keith Lee celebrating in the ring, which then proceeded to show you Karrion Kross and Scarlett looking down going, well, guess he's next then, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, what a visual. What a wonderful visual to end a show on. And for a man whose entire gimmick is bask in my glory, what else are you meant to do? What are you meant to do when all that stuff happens? It really was well done. NXT are great at this. WWE used to be really great at this, I guess. NXT are brilliant at it. Keith Lee looks like an absolute star here, and obviously congratulations to him. A huge moment for him, and I think ultimately, as much as I could have happily had Adam Cole stay the champion forever, I think the right decision as well, and lovely the shot coming away to see Karrion Kross already plotting the next move in this was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful stuff.
Yeah, really good. Adam Cole held that title for 403 days, winning it, of course, at TakeOver 25 against Johnny Gargano. Keith Lee now the first ever, I do believe, WWE, NXT and NXT North American champion. So excited to see where he goes from here and where Adam Cole goes from here. No doubt it's going to spark a whole conversation about whether he's going to stick around in NXT, whether he's going to head to Raw or SmackDown, what's going to happen with Undisputed Era. Exciting times in NXT.
Yeah, absolutely, and you wouldn't want to miss it. Let's be honest, because I tell you what, the slight concerns. I don't want to see Cole end up in the middle of no man's land on that main roster. I hope he sticks around in NXT for a little while yet to come. But one place he might not be going for this time being, Adam Wilborn, is AEW. I guess we can kind of segue into that, because last night on AEW we had Taz turning up with his new project. Brian Cage, of course, we've seen these two getting up to all sorts of shenanigans recently and sort of establishing themselves as a big deal. But Taz turned up last night with something that a lot of ECW fans probably went kind of mad for. ECW, ECW, ECW. Because last night he turned up with the FTW title of all things. Obviously lovely orange and gold. The full Taz gimmick, let's be honest. Comes out matching with his towel and all the whole pocket square and all that. Tony Khan had sort of teased that we were going to be getting something huge happening on Dynamite with regards, on Fyter Fest with regards to Taz and Brian Cage, and I guess this is it. Adam Wilborn, your thoughts on this wrestling relic turning up on an episode of AEW?
Well, yeah, Tony Khan has a bit of a checkered history after saying, Jake Hager versus Jon Moxley is going to be amazing. And I was like, are you sure about that? But he said this announcement was going to rock the wrestling world to its foundations, and it has. It's a classic championship. No doubt, as you said, many ECW fans popping their tits off, and it just makes next week's encounter at Fight for the Fallen even more exciting, in my opinion. Yeah,
and I mean, it comes obviously with the storied history of 21 years it'll have been since this title was actually on TV in an episode of ECW. But then you've got to think, is this just I guess it's just surely for a pop, this? They're not going to make this a proper belt, are they?
I would assume not, but it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Like you say, the championships are sort of piling up in AEW, so I don't know. I don't know if they're actually going to be defended or whatever, or whether he's just sort of, like you say, just giving it to Brian Cage as his protege, and he's just going to be known as that champion going forward. Either way, add more fuel to that fire for next week. And we've got not just that, but some great matches coming up on AEW and on NXT, but we'll get to that in due course. First off, though, I have to deal with the news that Matt Riddle took to Twitter yesterday to respond to the speaking out allegations he has been subject to. Of course, Candy Cartwright, the woman who has been accusing him. She accused Riddle of assaulting her when they rode together back in 2018. Riddle posted a two and a bit minute video talking all about this. A bit of a quote for you here. He said, "I have never in my entire life sexually assaulted a man, a woman, or anybody. That includes Samantha Tavel, aka Candy Cartwright. I never sexually assaulted you. That story about that van trip and the driver being asleep and me forcing you to do stuff, whatever, it's a complete lie. It's a fabricated story because you're still mad." He went on to admit that he did have an affair with Candy Cartwright. Told the story about that, how it sort of ate him up inside, how he eventually came clean, broke off the relationship with Candy Cartwright, came clean to his wife. Candy continued to, in his words, sort of harass him, and then he concluded by accusing her of using the speaking out hashtag and this movement, which has done so much good in the wrestling industry over the past month or so. He's accused her of trying to use that to end his career. Nicholas, obviously we're not going to delve too much into this. We kind of, with all of these allegations and responses and what have you, just want to present the facts. But interesting to see how Riddle has handled this, let's say.
Yeah, interesting to see that he's put out such... the video message thing is very personal, isn't it, I guess? Normally you would imagine he'd already sort of stated that he was going to let his lawyers handle all this kind of thing, and with WWE being his employers, you would imagine they would have been wanting to handle proceedings because it's probably in their best interest. If he was to turn up and say something out of turn on a video on Twitter, that could have gone spectacularly wrong. But he's made his statement. We've had the statement. As you say, we can only present the facts at this point. But you got to feel it's important to state that the speaking out movement is there to give a voice to these women, and it's also, I guess, it's within Matt Riddle's right to, if he wants to provide a counter argument, then there it is.
Absolutely. It's been a fairly divisive statement, I think it's fair to say, but you know, this is an incredibly sensitive issue, and we aren't going to take sides here at WhatCulture. Like we say, we're just going to present the facts and keep you up to date as these stories develop.
Indeed, but something we can dive into a little bit more though is everything that's going to be happening on next week's episode of AEW and NXT respectively. We are of course getting Fight for the Fallen, which is obviously a follow-up to last year's pretty successful thing, although obviously we know WWE counter-programmed last year, which rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way given the nature of Fight for Fallen. But we do have some great matches regardless, and Comic Book have given us a lovely list here of all of the matches that are coming up next week, so I'm just going to run them down for you. We have the AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley and Brian Cage, which we've already mentioned and alluded to. Will we see Jon Moxley get whacked over the head with the FTW title? Who knows? I guess you'll have to tune in for that one. The NXT Women's Championship will also be on the line. Io Shirai versus Tegan Nox. I am really looking forward to this match because I kind of wanted Dakota Kai to be in this slot, but I think Nox might be the right shout because she hasn't even had a title opportunity, a singles title opportunity yet, and this is one that is sure to be class because Io Shirai as well. Bound to be fantastic. The AEW TNT Championship is also on the line in a match I am actually fascinated to see. Cody Rhodes versus Sonny Kiss. About time, I should say, that Sonny Kiss is actually getting some real opportunity to show what they can do, because genuinely, that's a match I don't think many people would have put down on paper this early in their career on AEW. Damian Priest is versus Cameron Grimes next week on NXT as well. We've seen the build to that in the previous week, so finally them two are going to go at it, hopefully without any shenanigans, although then again, this is NXT. The Elite will also be taking on the Jurassic Express, which, I mean, come on, I don't even need to say any more. And that's those two. Fantastic stuff. Lucha Bros versus FTR. I mean, in terms of tag team wrestling, AEW is the best place for your best bang for your buck, should I say. So get yourselves on there if that's what you're more into. Or maybe you'd just be interested in something involving Johnny Gargano. There you go. That's literally exactly as it is. So those are your options, I guess. But either way, I think we can all agree, and we'll born a lovely bundle of things to come on next week's episodes of AEW and NXT, respectively.
Indeed. To quote the Ferrero Rocher advert, Ambassador, you are spoiling us.
Hey.
look, the 2 championship matches, well, 3 championship matches, what am I talking about? On across the shows are great. Obviously, we knew all about Moxley versus Cage and the reasons why that has been delayed. TNT championship match, Cody versus Sonny Kiss is a really exciting prospect. And yeah, there was a sensational, if you haven't seen it already, I've used that word too many times already today. A brilliant video package promoting Io Shirai and Tegan Nox on last night's NXT Great American Bash. I just love the fact that all of Io Shirai's promos start with her being underwater. Great stuff. Yeah. It's a wonderful image, and it's such an exciting match. Cameron Grimes is just one of the stars of this year, in my opinion. Yeah. Every promo he cuts. The fact last week he got a promo saying, well, whoever wins that champion versus champion match, I've got dibs, because I just keep winning, even though I have to sort of cheat and attack people in the car park and slash their tyres and what have you. Look, a one-on-one match, like you say, with a level playing field between Cameron Grimes and Damian Priest is excellent.
I'll be amazed, by the way. I'm sorry, I just need to cut you short there. I'll be amazed that you haven't taken on Cameron Grimes is one of your things that you're screaming to the air, because that feels like it's tailor-made for you, and I don't know what's going on here.
I've got too many. There's a one-in, one-out policy. I'm trying to remain slightly professional here. I'm still astonished we've managed to talk about AEW, FTR, FTW, and ECW and not messed any of them up so far.
Well, that's what people think at home. They don't know how many takes this has been, of course.
Exactly. There's some great matches. The Elite versus Jurassic Express, with the obvious absence of Hangman, is a nice little touch there. And FTR versus the Lucha Bros. After what was, if you haven't gone and watched it yet, go and watch FTR and the Young Bucks versus Butcher Blade and the Lucha Bros. You will not be disappointed. Like you say, tag team wrestling just hitting its peak in AEW time after time. Another brilliant week of Wednesday night wrestling to come next week.
Absolutely. I mean, we're just spoiled for choice at the minute, and genuinely, I feel like we're reaching a point where people might not have agreed with the tactics of WWE or whatever for the counter program, and that was always going to happen. But ultimately, we are the winners in all of this, because look at the programming we have got to watch over the last 2 weeks already, and in 2 weeks' time we've got coming up. This is it's great stuff. Great stuff.
I have a question for you, Adam Nicholas. Ooh. Do you think the combined Wednesday Night War numbers will beat Raw this week? What did Raw do? 1.67, something like that?
You know what? I tell you what, if there's going to be a week for it, maybe. Well, actually saying that, if there was going to be a week for it, maybe last week would have been the one, because there was a lot going on NXT in particular last week. But you never know. These numbers have been going up, and God, it'll be exciting if that happens, won't it?
I just would love to see Michael Hamlet's little face when that happens. Right, let's talk a little bit about Otis. Of course, he's getting a huge push in WWE. Well, he was. We haven't seen much of him recently on SmackDown. But he's, of course, still Mr. Money in the Bank. He's having a lovely time with Mandy Rose by all accounts. And Fightful Select are reporting that Vince McMahon is the guy behind his current push. He's a favourite of Vince McMahon's. He's said to be a, quote, total Vince McMahon project, which I suppose is either a blessing or a curse.
Yes.
And it's also reported that both members of Heavy Machinery, let's not forget Tucker in all this, are also said to have made positive impressions backstage, which may have helped. Nicholas, I should really defer to you on this one. You've been a fan of Heavy Machinery for quite some time. Look, Otis comes across as a lovely guy. It's nice to see something different being done with someone else different. I suppose the big concern is what happens when he tries to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. But for now, let's just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's funny because you thought Vince had maybe moved away from from favouring this kind of performer. This feels very much like 90s Vince would have loved Otis back then. The big guy who can actually do a ton of stuff in the ring. That's really what he's all about. And let's be honest, if he was ever going to warm towards a performer, I know a lot of people find Otis to be the comedy character, and I guess he is, but he can go. People always forget this. Otis is a good wrestler. He's got good pedigree, and not the actual pedigree. Pedigree as a wrestler. Although I'd like to say that.
Yes.
But genuinely, the guy can go. I always say this, but I'm going to have to say it again because I'll be annoyed if I don't. If you need a better example of Otis's best in singles performance, go back to NXT, watch the match that he had for the NXT Championship against Ciampa. It was brilliant. That's what he can do. I think Vince loves him because ultimately he can do it all, can't he? If he gets angry and is serious, he can serious wrestle. He can do the comedy spots brilliant, and I'm sure a tiny bit of it is Vince enjoys taking the piss out of him because that sounds like Vince McMahon, doesn't it, really?
Exactly. And those people who are saying, oh, well, Otis is being buried, why aren't we seeing so much of him on TV and why isn't he being more prominently featured? I do quite like that, I have to admit, because I always say when people have the money in the bank briefcase and they've got it for a longer period of time, when they don't cash in within the first month or so, I, as a fan, want to try and forget about the fact that they've got it. So when they do turn up and cash in, you're like, oh, bloody hell, it is a genuine surprise rather than just having them there, all the time waiting to cash in. Imagine if at SummerSlam the Fiend defeats Braun Strowman recovers, destroys him, and then out comes Otis. Like, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it'd be a bloody big surprise.
It'd be a big surprise. I would definitely support what you've said there, because how many times have we been sick of someone going, I've got the briefcase, I've got the briefcase, I've got the briefcase, and they just keep doing it until you're like, yeah, this guy's got the briefcase. Although you say that, but they did that with Seth Rollins to death, and we still went mad when he came out of WrestleMania because we didn't think they were going to do it. The Otis thing, I just think it's nicer to put it in the background, and you'll pop huge if you've just let your guard down for a second and he comes out. And I tell you what, put the belt on him for me. Put the belt on him and just see what happens, because honestly, it's Otis. He can carry that stuff. Yes, everyone's going to be screaming in the comments, what are you on about? It's Otis, man. This guy could do good things with that belt and it would be a different take. And what could be any less mad than Braun Strowman picking it up in like a couple of minute match with Goldberg, and then Bray Wyatt having lost it to Goldberg in the first place? I mean, it fits the bill for my money.
Exactly. And like you say, expand your thinking on Otis. He is more than just a funny little fat man. He is a genuinely talented wrestler. And, well, with the state of wrestling being it is right now, we need something to cheer us up. So, yeah, put the belt on him. Just not yet. Not yet. Not quite yet. Don't have him show up in the swamp, for example.
Oh my God, he's going to come out of the swamp, isn't he? He's going to be dressed as an alligator or something in the swamp. Oh my God, I didn't even think of the possibilities of that. Why have you done this?
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, we want to get in touch with us. Ryan Cake Bean, regular contributor, gives us our first question of the day, saying, with Adam Cole, baby, losing the NXT title, if he does go to the main roster, would you like to see all of Undisputed Era move up? Or do you think this is a way for NXT to let his contract expire?
It's difficult. I think if we are assuming that he's staying with NXT, then I would be sending all four of them up together. Not for them, but for my sake, because if they don't send them up as a gang, they're in trouble, genuinely. The other three as well, but mostly I think Cole benefits the most from having that gang of four. We saw how well it worked back in the November to Remember when Cole literally ran roughshod across all of the main roster. And honestly, if they do it without that, I'd be seriously worried.
Early contender for the Royal Rumble victory?
It's very early. That is a very early shout. It depends how much Vince sees stock on him, really, because he's very little, isn't he? And Vince doesn't like us little people.
Yes, indeed. I'm just going to try and Google Royal Rumble odds, see if I can win some money off the back of it. I don't think they're going to let his contract expire. I think we sort of reported at the time that story is probably fabricated. I think he has got a longer term contract with WWE. He's not going to run out in the next month or so. And I think he's done everything in NXT. I'd have him go to the main roster, but you need those guys around him. Just do what he's been doing in NXT on the main roster, and I think you've got gold in your hands there.
Do you think he's done? Think there's nothing else he could do in NXT?
I'm sure there is stuff that they can do, and I, for one, still want to see that match between him and Roderick Strong when they all fall apart, but I sense the way that they booked this match and the way they've sort of put him in so many big matches in the last few months, I reckon he'd be ideal as a sort of a breath of fresh air immediately following sort of SummerSlam. That's normally when they sort of bring people in, so best of luck to him, but what a sensational NXT champion he has been. Second question today comes from Sean Acklin, who says, let's make a four-way dream match. Pick one guy from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and Impact, and let them have at it. Sean picks Keith Lee, Kenny Omega, Zack Sabre Jr., and Trey. He says, can you imagine who would you guys put in the ring?
Oh,
nice easy question there, Sean.
Yeah, nice easy one. What was it? AEW, New Japan,
WWE and Impact.
Oh,
Ken Shamrock from Impact.
Do you know what it is? I was going to say I was going to struggle for someone from Impact because they've had so many disappearances and all that sort of thing. Shamrock would be fascinating. I tell you what, let's go down that path then, shall we? If we're picking Ken Shamrock, let's chuck a couple of other guys in there. Let's chuck Brock Lesnar in there. Ken Shamrock, Brock Lesnar. Who have we got in AEW? Brian Cage?
What Wardlow
would be a more interesting. I'll have a bit of that. And who's our last one from New Japan? Oh, Minoru Suzuki, of course. That's
my days.
Can you imagine the monstrosity that happens in that match? Ken Shamrock, Brock Lesnar, Minoru Suzuki. Oh my God, that's just it's brutal. And Wardlow just there to bring the pretty as well.
Me and the Dudley boys were enjoying yet again Big E's booking of him versus Goldberg. So I think that's the tagline: big man with big chest slapping meat.
Slap bum and meat.
You want your 30-minute classics? Nah. It's so
That's
good.
One of my favourite videos of all
it's
time.
It's the way it sends waves through this co-host who I think is like a Big E's like college mate. Yeah. He's trying to maintain some like professionalism and then just loses it along with the rest of them.
Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods
can't breathe.
He can't breathe. He's like, stop.
Final question today comes from Ron17 on Twitter. Who says, if you could go back in time, what wrestling event would you like to have witnessed?
Oh, that's a good question. I wish you'd prepared me for these before we started.
Well, I was going to say, I realised I completely forgot to mention these questions to you before we started. Whilst you think about it, I'm going to say the thing that popped into my head. Because whilst some people would say, I'm sure it would be great to be there for, for example, WrestleMania 30. You get to see the ending of the streak and Daniel Bryan finally, win everything. Yeah. Or to be there for like Rock Hogan or whatever. Do you know what my mind immediately turned to when I read this?
I've got one, but you go. Yeah, go on.
It's kind of a reflection on me. I thought out of everything, out of all my love for I was there for the Iconics and Titus and The Rock and what have you.
Are you going to pick something like not in WWE?
No, I'm not going to pick something not in WWE. I'm going to pick the moment from the Royal Rumble where all of Too Cool came out.
Oh, no, that's not what I was thinking.
Sunglasses on.
Wow.
That is a moment I would have loved. Was that Madison Square Garden, I do believe?
I think so, but
I would have loved to have been there for something like that.
I really thought you were amping up to, you wanted to be there at the greatest Royal Rumble for Titus's slide. That's what I thought you were going to say. Genuinely thought you were going to say that. But in terms of one that came to my mind, and I just have to sort of apply it to the time as well, I should point out, WrestleMania 31 was one where I was finally got back into wrestling properly and was there for it. Not there, but I was watching it. And I would have lost my mind entirely. I'd already lost it at home, but I would have lost my mind and probably never got it back if I'd been there for Rollins cashing in that Money in the Bank briefcase. And I guess by the same nature, I would have also been there for that incredible RKO setup from the previous match he had with Randy Orton, which was just amazing. I was huge into Seth Rollins at the time. Man, it pretty much got me back into wrestling. So that, for me, would have been numero uno. Unless there's something from the Attitude. That's too easy to pick them. Too easy to pick.
Yeah, exactly. That's either that or the time The Rock set his name on fire at WrestleMania.
I was there for that. Trust me, it wasn't good. Was not good. Don't waste your time.
Let's move quickly on to today's, and finally, and I just love this, there's so much stuff going on at the moment, but I wanted to share this, that Trent's mum, Sue, has been interviewed by Sports Illustrated, and this quote is just the most professional wrestler gets embarrassed by mum in an interview. I'm sure he loves her no matter what, but she said, "Everyone said it went well. I never thought after all those car rides we'd ever have something like this happen. It was such a special, important moment, and it was such a good feeling to be able to share it with my Greggy."
Oh, hey, I'm all for this. This is pure
lovely,
sincerity, isn't it? And this lovely little moment between a mother and son. And the fact she's been interviewed by Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
That's magical.
I think Trent tweeted it saying our ego's off the chain now, basically.
Actually, well, thinking that, would Trent have been interviewed by Sports Illustrated at this point?
Yeah. Hello, is that Trent? Yeah. Have you got your number for your mum? We'd love to interview her.
Put us in touch with your mum, please.
Also, shout out to everyone on Reddit Squared Circle. Just past 500,000 members. Great to see that. So well worth checking that out. Always lots of banter on there. Right, let us know your thoughts on that. Which wrestling moment you'd love to have been there for, and everything we've discussed today in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dadley Boys reviewing NXT and AEW, of course, Fyter Fest, Great American Bash a little bit later on today, and myself and one of the Dadleys will no doubt sit down and record something for a release over the weekend about what's next for Adam Cole. Plus, let us know your thoughts and your your Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and watch they can follow both of us. You can follow Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas, and you can follow Adam Wilborn at
Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE, as I said. For now, my thanks to Adam Nicholas. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.